So this season has been one long gut punch for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, and if you're an Aggies fan, the news you got yesterday is the last thing you wanted to hear. Because earlier in the day, news broke that Texas A&M was set to miss 3 offensive linemen for the remainder of the season due to injury, something you never want to hear. Hopefully all of those individuals have a speedy and healthy recovery. But it was that news that broke at night that really sent social media by storm when co-owner of Texas Ags Billy Lucci tweeted out that 3 or 4 players for Texas A&M were set to be suspended indefinitely, something we need to talk about. Because there's an old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And right now, there's a lot of smoke coming out of College Station, something we've got to break down. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe Jimbo Fisher has lost control of the program? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed this content, be sure to like and comment down below. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And first and foremost, at some level, I feel for Jimbo Fisher. Because anytime you have a situation where there might be disciplinary action that needs to be taken, the one thing we're interested in is how is your team going to respond in the coming weeks? And for Texas A&M, they still have some huge games on their schedule. And if you're an Aggies fan and you are hoping that your team could continue building and trending in a positive direction even after the skid we've seen, it's going to be really difficult to do so with the injuries that are piling up, especially the 3 injuries that were announced yesterday along the offensive line, because every single one of those guys has starting experience for the Aggies. One of those guys being Bryce Foster plays some real high quality football when he's in there. So at that level, I feel bad for Jimbo Fisher, because usually when something like this happens, we'd want to know how are you going to respond. But at this point, the team is so compromised with injuries, responding in the manner people are going to want is going to be even more difficult than it already was. So that's an unfortunate situation if you're Jimbo Fisher. Now, the flip side of that is you just got a $100 million contract. You should be able to handle these problems like the other $100 million coaches do. That's where this is getting really interesting, because this whole year has been a giant gut punch for Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. Whether we're talking about on-field results or what's happening behind the scenes at Texas A&M, where time and time again, these little nuggets come out of X player acting out, X player doing this. And this isn't the first time Jimbo Fisher has had to take disciplinary action on players for things that have come out, whether that's the car being driven at high speeds through the parking garage, whether that's players sneaking out the night before games, or whether that's players liking tweets saying Jimbo's offense expired in 2014, one must ask the question, what level of control does Jimbo Fisher currently have on this program? And in no way am I insinuating he has none, but at some level, things aren't going right, and it's a repeated thing. It's not like this is the first, second, or even third time a situation has came out and kind of caused the question to be asked, what's going on with Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies, and how much control does he have over that program? This is an unfortunate circumstance because right now, given the optics of the situation, Texas A&M is in a precarious position because this season has not gone well at any level, on the field, off the field, and right now you're in a situation where you gave a coach $100 million and he's now trying to hold on to, first and foremost, the recruiting class he just got, but also trying to hold on to all the future recruits they're trying to get into their class. And like I said, this isn't a one-off. This is not the first time Jimbo Fisher has needed to take disciplinary actions, and I'm not saying that's unique to Texas A&M or that Jimbo's the only coach that has to take disciplinary actions. He's absolutely not. That is not unique to Texas A&M. That is not at all my contention. It happens everywhere. But the question I must ask is, at some point, is this a symptom of a larger virus? Meaning, is the acting out symptomatic of something much larger going wrong at Texas A&M? That, I think, is something that we need to wait and see, but certainly we need to keep it at the forefront of our minds. So this is what I mean, because right now, it's almost the meme of that dog sitting at the coffee table, drinking his cup of coffee, and there's fire all around him, and he's trying to convince himself it's fine. There's been smoke since the offseason from Texas A&M, and now Jimbo Fisher has got to do something about it. At some level, I do feel bad for Jimbo Fisher because his team is so compromised with injuries, they can't get the response games. They can't have these response moments that so many people would want to see out of a team that is just sliding in the win-loss column. But even further than that, it's what's happening behind closed doors that I find so alarming. It's not a one-off. It's not the second time. It's not even the third time. And this is what we know about. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And right now, there's a lot of smoke at Texas A&M. And one has to ask the question, does Jimbo Fisher have control of the program? Who knows at this point? I can't wait to hear from y'all. I'm super interested in seeing what's going to happen with Texas A&M moving forward. I do feel bad for Jimbo Fisher, but at the same time, you're a $100 million coach. $100 million coaches have to deal with these sort of things, and they don't have these problems come up at the rate we're seeing out of Jimbo Fisher, and it's almost shades of Florida State. We know what happened at Florida State. Control was lost to the program, and the culture became very toxic. Almost looks like we're trending in that same direction right now. Can't wait to hear from all of you. I'm not trying to pile on to Texas A&M. Really, I want the Aggies to be good. I want for every institution to be good because every single one of these kids that goes to these colleges, they're doing so to further their opportunities in life. I want success for all of those individuals because I don't think the common fan understands how much work these college athletes put in to just being able to play on Saturdays, being a full-time student, practicing, trying to keep everything in order. I want all of them to find success, whether that's in football or in life, and so I take no pleasure in making videos like this where I'm having to question whether or not the head coach has any control over a program. I can't wait to hear from y'all. Hop down in the comments, let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See you.